Hi, beautiful. Who's ready for some hair education today? I mean, hopefully you, because you clicked on the video and so. I got my matcha latte and I'm ready to be a history teacher today. I loved my history teachers growing up, which has nothing to do with this video. Even though they never taught me about hair color history, hopefully I can do them justice. Did you know that 70% of women in the United States color their hair? That's a lot of hair color. And 52% of you guys do it at home. And that's very evident throughout the years of me seeing all these botched dye jobs. It's very evident, I will say that much. However, highlighting specifically has come a very long way. There has been a lot of changes, a lot of development within the highlighting realm of hair color. And so today I wanted to go over one of my favorite techniques, which is highlighting, how it came to be what it is today. So if you guys are ready, let's take a journey into the past. Very, very deep, where highlights all began. Let's get in our time machine and let's go to the 6th century BC. I'm gonna get my time machine. I'll see you guys in a few. Whoa! It looks almost the same as it does in 2020 around here. That's weird. I didn't know we had MacBooks. You guys, first of all, I have to credit the place that I found a lot of this information, which is linked below for you. It is joefuller.co. They did a whole history of highlights and I found it very fascinating. And I took a lot of information from them, so thanks you guys for writing up that article. It was very interesting. So highlighting can be traced back to the 6th century BC, which was like a long time ago. The women of ancient Greece would lighten their hair sort of naturally with the sun, as well as a mix of ingredients applied to their hair. And that mixture of ingredients was olive oil, gold flakes, lemon juice, and pollen. Well, we all know that lemon juice does lighten hair. That's quite the interesting mixture of products. We got olive oil for some moisturization, gold flakes for, just being bougie, lemon juice for the lightening, and pollen for who knows what. But sounds like a plan, and that is how they naturally highlighted their hair in the sun. That's how they got those golden locks without actually using real hair dye. Real hair dye was developed much later. We'll go over that in a bit. So then we move ahead to 1600 and the Renaissance era. Renaissance. They would do a similar moment as the ladies from our ancient Greece sector of the world. They would apply another concoction on their hair, slightly different, and lighten it with the sun. And their little concoction was black sulfur, alum. I don't know what alum is. It's a complicated substance, is what I'm finding out right now. I don't know. It's some kind of sulfate of aluminum and potassium. Great. And then they also combined honey to brighten their hair with the natural sunlight. A similar but different approach to our ladies of ancient Greece, but they looked fabulous. So what can I say? You killed it. You kind of did that thing. We're going somewhere now. We have the 1800s. We just took a big leap. Chemists discovered in the 1800s that you can actually use hydrogen peroxide to lighten the hair without burning the scalp. That was a huge finding, a huge development. I'm so happy to see it. Now let's head to 1907. This is getting interesting now. So we're developing, we're moving forward. A lot of things are happening in the industry. Women are wanting to color their hair more and more, and my matcha latte is going down a little bit. Baby, stay with me. In 1907, the French chemist Eugene Schweller created the first commercial hair lightener. Eugene, how could I thank you? Oh my God, boy, you did that thing. It was called Aerol. This is how it's spelled, Aerol. I don't know how to say that. Which was later developed into the brand we know today as L'Oreal. L'Oreal. They did the damn thing for a long damn time. I'll give them that. They've been around for a long time. Oh boy. I wasn't even alive until way later than that. Boom. That brings us to the 1950s. What a cute era that was. Ooh, the cutest dresses. Their hair, incredible. The girls with their beautiful chignons and their waves and amazing. Now, in the 1950s, Lawrence Gelb, the founder of Clairol, he developed the first one-step hair color system, which allowed women to lighten their hair without using bleach at home, fast, and simply, which is what we know today as just plain old hair dye. This allowed women to do all sorts of things with their color. Now, color was still frowned upon at this time. Women did not like telling people they colored their hair. It was very secretive. People were like, shh, you color your hair? No, shh, you do what to your hair? You color? People really be out there at that time thinking these women had perfect hair colors naturally. Girl, we know you're sneaking that color in the bathroom every night and fixing up those roots. You're not fooling anybody. Also, around this time period, I don't know specifically when, but I did hear that prostitutes actually had to color their hair blonde to signify what their job was. And so it was very frowned upon to color your hair blonde, which makes me sad. Maybe that's why I love being blonde so much, because I just want to commemorate all the prostitutes. I don't know. Let's just say Clairol really changed the game. Things are moving, things are grooving. We got hair color now. We can actually lighten our hair now without burning it off. Thank you, Clairol. We're going next to the 1960s. Whoa, we're here. We are at the 1960s. Hairdressers now developed the glorious technique of the frosting cap, where they would put a plastic bag on your head, pull out your hair through some holes, put the lightener on, and you have highlights, voila. You guys have seen that a lot coming back, but that was developed in the 1960s. It wasn't as glamorous as it is now though. They would literally take plastic bags, tape it to your head, punch holes through it. There wasn't actually caps made to do that. That came a little bit later. But this is how they did highlights for a little while, and let's just say I'm glad that is not how we do it anymore. Well, we sort of still do, but we'll get to that. This highlighting method was hectic and created highlights that were very irregular and unnatural and a little bit wild. We're moving on, guys. We're moving on. We're moving on to the 1970s. Oh, the glorious 1970s. This was fun. You know why? Because the technique balayage was created. The word balayage actually means sweeping in French. If you guys ever wondered what the word balayage is, it's just sweeping. It's not that difficult. It's balayage. Balayage. Next time you get balayage done, I want you to say, hi, can I get some balayage? Make sure you just sound very pretentious when you say the word. Your hairdresser will love that. And if you don't know what balayage is, it is a freehand highlighting technique where the highlights are painted onto the hair. This became very popular. It was beautifully done in a lot of cases. We saw supermodels rocking that amazing blonde, flowy hair.
You can see why I color my hair with preference by L'Oreal. Rich color, soft hair. It looks like it feels like silk. See?
That is all, you know, swept back, like that Farrah Fawcett look. Oof, it was classic. It's beautiful. It was amazing. The 1970s hair color was some of the best. The 1980s. Oh, we got something fun coming here. We got the foil method. This method was developed finally by some hairdressers who decided to weave out hair, put a little lightener on it, and put it in a foil to heat it up. Now, these weren't the very blended highlights you see today. These were quite stripy and irregular. At this point, they're still working on their patterns and how they like to place the foils until a little bit later, where it got a little bit more developed. It wasn't public knowledge on how to do foil highlights and brought into the mainstream. Also in the 80s, fabulous products like Sun-In were developed. And you guys all know what Sun-In is. I'm not even gonna get into it. You spray it on your hair, it lightens it, and it turns into an orange mess. But that was pretty fun in the 80s, and people still do it, which is scary. Foiling is that fundamental every hairdresser should know how to do very well. Finally born, foils are amazing, really great technique. Let's go to the 1990s. Some of us were lucky enough to be born around then. And I'm not saying I was one of them, but I may just have been. Now, the same sort of 80s techniques were developed even more in the 90s. Now people are learning how to really use foil highlights to their advantage, and they're definitely taking advantage of the situation. At this time, we're seeing very high contrasting highlighting mixed with highs and lows, lowlights and highlights. There was also color blocking introduced, where you have really dark tones, very thick sections of color highlighted, or very light tones highlighted in very chunky sections, such as the looks that Christina Aguilera was pulling off. She really did the damn thing. She kind of killed it on that one. That was sort of the hair moment of the 90s with highlights. It was chunky, it was bold, it was in your face. And then we moved to the early 2000s, where the chunky highlights got chunkier and the color blocking got blockier. Jessica Simpson was one of those people who had those striped out highlights, roots to ends. Kelly Clarkson was another one of them, where she just had that really intense stripe going on. And listen, it's a look. I thought it was fun, I thought it was fresh, I thought it was cool, I thought it was original, and we're about to see that come back in style. Around 2013 is when the ombre went mainstream. Now, this sort of ombre techniques have been developed for a very long time. There's no really saying when it was fully developed, but 2013, we saw a lot of celebrities really come onto the red carpet with some bad ombres, or I guess just ombres in general, because ombres are never really good. I don't know. It was one of those things where I just like didn't really get it, but like also it was like kind of fun. I don't know. I really don't hate any like trend with hair. I think they're all like their own thing and they existed and it was a good time. But this one was a lot, which is saying something. What is it saying? I don't know. But we saw people like Ciara and Drew Barrymore really go full on with this trend and do some kind of slightly ratchet ombres where it went very dark on the top and very light on the bottom. It was like a race to who could have a darker first half of their hair and lighter mids and ends of their hair. It was like, just give me a line across. I want a line. I want it to be fully saturated. That was all the rage. Highlights developed from one highlight to just a chunk of highlight at the bottom of your hair. Now, that brings us to present day. 2020, where we're seeing a lot of beautifully executed highlights. People are now combining every technique from the past, cap highlighting, foil highlighting, regular weave highlighting in foils, chunky highlighting. Everything is being used now on even just one head of hair. You're seeing in some cases people do the cap and then add painted pieces in the front and foils on the side. People are doing all sorts of creative stuff and it's really exciting. The one thing I see, the highlights are very blended, but also at the same time, very contrasting. You see a lot of darks, a lot of lights. You see very punchy highlights, but also it's coming out of the root in a natural way, which I think is very unique to the trends we're seeing right now. And when we look back at the hair trends, we'll sort of see that whole blended, natural, but unnatural vibe that everybody's going for right now. I think it's really cool and I love that we have developed so far with highlighting. Baby lights have been introduced. It's not something new. It's a new phrase for an existing technique, but it's definitely being implemented a lot more in salons nowadays. And the last thing you're seeing in 2020 is the chunky e-girl highlights. You guys know that I love it, but you know, that is a throwback to the 90s. I mean, people have been doing those chunky front highlights for a long time, and it's just old stuff being refiltered from the past like it always is, and it's coming back. So you're seeing a little bit of new highlighting techniques be developed, but really just the old stuff filtering back, and people are getting better with those techniques. That was a lot. Now that my matcha is pretty much gone, that's it, you guys. That's the damn truth behind how highlighting was developed and where it is today and how we got there. It was a long journey. Things have changed a lot, but in some ways have really remained the same. I found this super interesting to learn about, and I hope you guys did too. And maybe next time you get your hair done, you try something new. Maybe bring back the 90s a little bit more. I'm into it. Is it just me? It's just me. All right, whatever. Well, you guys, don't forget to follow me on all the different social media networks like TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter at BradmondoNYC. Also, check out my Facebook page and my Snapchat show under Brad Mondo. And lastly, but certainly not least, check out Xmondo Hair at xmondohair.com, where you can get fabulous, amazing, beautiful, luxurious hair all at home with products created by me for you. You can also check out our Instagram at xmondohair to see all the beautiful product launches coming up and ones we've done, such as the ones last week with the new electrified and WaveTech products that are literally flying off the mother shelves. So get on that. And that is all for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to live your extra life, and I will see you next time. Bye, guys. This is Electrified, our volumizing foam. if your hair is lacking volume, lacking body, lacking life, get electrified. This is the ultimate cure for lifeless hair. This will actually thicken your hair strands and also add that bit of hold to your root area in order to maintain your volume all day long.